I know for me, it is a time of times. I want to give people a second to enter into the room. Yeah, enter into the chat and let's get into this word on today that we've all been given breath and opportunity to realign ourselves. It's good. It's still hot out. That's a blessing. The sun, blessing. All right, so I know a lot of people is going to be very interested in what I have to say, given this title. Firstly, I want to find my piece of paper. Where is it? Now where? I saw something very good that blessed me, and I wanted to read it. And it says, strength requires difficulties to make you strong. Wisdom requires the ability to come to resolutions or solutions. Courage requires dangers to overcome, and love requires needs to be met. And this blessed me because in my meditation, this completely aligned, because what I have come to the realization of is that you can't pray for things and expect for them to just be granted. The things that we pray for are not just given, but they are grown or produced. I feel like that's why the scriptures reference this idea of it being done, right? Like, you can ask for something and you can receive it based off of your participation, right? So I can't just ask for financial support but don't possess an ambitious heart, a driven heart, right? To go and put my hand to some type of work, right, that is in the direction of financial freedom. That's just an example, right? So the things that we pray for are not just given, they are grown, they are produced. And so I wanted to share that because again, this just blessed me, and I'll read it again. We pray to Yahuwah for strength, right? And then he gives us difficulties, right? In order to make us strong. He doesn't just make you strong. You don't end up going through, you don't pray for strength and then you go through a difficult moment arises and you just are like, I'm strong. Like, you know that there's an active work that it takes to actually then embody strength in those situations, right? So for some people, it's a situation where I ask for strength, and then I'm given a difficult situation, and in that difficult situation, I am bombarded or overwhelmed with my weaknesses, or with my inadequacy or my incompetencies, right? I do not exude the strength that's needed in those moments, the trust that's needed in those moments, the repattern that is necessary in those moments. For some people, it's always the same thing, and then you go back and you pray to Yah because you're in shame or you're upset, like, man, why did I react that way again? And so you keep praying for strength, but you keep being given difficulties. And people expect Yah to make them strong, in the sense of, when I go through difficulties, I'll be able to just right then and there be strong and not react a certain way. And I want to tell you that that's the goal, because it is possible to have that type of outcome. But I need you to know that it's not just through you praying and then Yah just magically putting something in you. It's actually through practice. You have to practice awareness, right? You have to practice self-honesty, right? Honesty with self is being able to acknowledge and recognize not only your strengths but your weaknesses. You see what I'm saying? Like, it takes a practice, and it takes participation, and it takes an interest, honestly, because a lot of us are diligently praying for things, but when you really search the depths, like, you don't have a love or an interest for what you are seeking for real. And in the things that you do have a strong desire or will towards, they are not in line with Yah and the direction for your life. A lot of us think that we just have to have X, Y, and Z in order to prosper on our journey with Yah. And the whole time, Yah is like, you actually don't need that at all. Some of us just think, man, if I just had $1 million, I would invest in some land, I would give to people, I would have a space for the Hebrew Israelite community to come and have a Goshen, and we would get animals, we would do this and the third, and all we would have to do is worship Yah. Like, that's all I just need in order for me to give Yah my all, to give Yah my praise, to not have distractions. But in fact, certain things that we ask Yah for, it will actually hinder our growth. You see what I'm saying? It will hinder you. If Yah just gave you the $1 million and the land, then guess what? You just went around having to go through real things, right? That would have built your character, and that was a part of the process of your reconstruction. In other words, it's just like free will. A lot of people ask, why is there a free will? Like, how come we all just couldn't have hearts to follow Yah? We pray and ask for obedient hearts, right? And then you are literally tested. Are you actually loyal to Yah? He gives you certain commands, and you ask for obedience to Yah. Next to know, he's like, yeah, you need to leave that relationship, or yeah, you need to do it. And you're like, oh, well, I didn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? Like, is Yah really telling me to do that? That's not Yah's will. I don't have to do that. That's my flesh. We call good evil and evil good. So the nature is that we don't really want, or we're not really ready or in the position to really receive what we're praying for. You are not vitally matching what you are praying for, because prayer is communication with Yah. It is a literal frequency. I know people are afraid of those words and those terms, but it's the truth. The Most High Yah, what is he? If he doesn't have a crystalline being, if he's Shamayim in the heaven, you understand what I'm saying? If no man has seen him, what is he then? He's energy. He is the highest form of frequency, which is light, right? So it's a direct communication with Yah. It's a frequency. Even when you think about phone frequencies and ready, all of that thing, like, yes, prayer is a frequent channel to converse with Yah. And what you're speaking, right, is a materialized, like, thought form, if you will, that you are trying to actualize. And the thing is that, again, some things that we're praying and asking for, you don't even meet vibrationally what you're praying and asking for. So again, this is just an example. Asking for $1 million in land just to be able to be self-sufficient and just all I gotta do is serve y'all. I don't have to be stuck in Babylon anymore. I don't have to work jobs. I don't have to be bothered X, Y, and Z. But you're lazy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not ambitious. You're not disciplined, because it's going to take ambition and drive to till a land and to take care of animals and to harvest fruit and to plant and to go through seasons and all. It's going to take that. So you're praying for something that you are not even in alignment with. You don't vibrationally match what you're asking for. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand, and then as well as we're praying for things that we are not prepared or willing to go through the process of matching or meeting. Right? So again, strength. I'm praying and asking for strength, but I'm giving difficulties. And then every time you're giving difficulties, which let's just look at difficulties or whatever y'all gives us, or whatever circumstances that we have to go through in order to grow or produce what we're asking for, right? We don't want to go through those processes, because those processes yields an opportunity for your growth. So no, Yah's not just going to give you strength. He's going to put you in a situation to produce strength. Because, I mean, if you look at it, it's growing you, it's reconstructing you. It's also giving Yah data, right? What data? Whether you are of him or not. You see what I'm saying? Because it's so easy for people to follow Yah when they don't have anything going on. It's easy for us to follow Yahuwah when things are going good, like when we have money, promotion, like our cars work and everything. Oh man, like we're praising, we're worshiping, we're fasting, we're reading, we're showing up, to the point where some of the areas start to lack. Maybe I'm actually not praying as much anymore. I'm not praying as much anymore. Like, I'm happy, right? Quote unquote, every day I'm smiling. I start to get in this flow, in this groove where Yah starts to be removed, because all of my needs are met physically and materially. So in fact, pain or suffering, if you will, is there in order to draw you away and separate you from the world and to connect you to Yah. It's actually one of the most, I'll say, divinely powerful methods or mechanisms that Yah gives in order to remind us that we're human and that we need him. I think it's beautiful. So again, we have to stop thinking that when we're praying for things, that like a genie, it should just pop up within us and we should just have it. And that's how we want it to be. You have to go through the process. You have to go through all the notions. You have to be built. You have to be recalibrated. Like, you have to be proven. And you have to be willing to go through those things. And again, you eventually, the goal is that eventually, watch this, when there are difficulties, yes, in the moment, right then and there, I am able to embody strength. There is no more questioning of the Most High. There is no more doubt. There is no more fear. There is no more worry. I'm not worrying over and over in my mind to the point where I'm sleeping. These thoughts are rolling in my mind. How am I about to pay this bill? How am I about to pay this bill? Oh my gosh, they're about to repo the car. Looking on my show, like there's going to come a point when you are faced with adversities, you literally are able to stay reserved or stay temperate through the entire situation, because your full trust, expectation, and hope is in the Most High. Like, not only just that, but you're able to embody peace and happiness during those times, to the point where people can literally look at you and say, man, like, you're literally homeless and you're happy. Like, you gotta be faking. It's like, no, I really am at peace. And be like, man, to the point where they should be convicted because they have everything and they're still not satisfied. But you have nothing. And I quote unquote that because we are learning, right? We're on the wellness journey to knowing that there is nothing wrong, broken, missing. Like, we are undifferentiated wholeness. Hallelujah. I'll talk about more of what that is. I know you're like, undifferentiated wholeness. Yes, you are undifferentiated wholeness when you lack nothing. Like, you always seem to Yahuwah. So that's that. Now I will be getting into this denouncing and renouncing of this walk, and it's so funny because as you can see, there was a point, there was probably about like 40-50 people in the room, but after they were not only hearing my intro and what I was just talking about, but the fact that they heard me still say the Most High or Yahuwah, they're like, whatever, she's not talking about denouncing it. So either you have people in the room that, unfortunately, and it makes me sad, have the potential or the possibility that they too actually walked away from Yah and his path, or you have the people that's actually hoping and wishing and praying for my fall, which is insane. But all it seems to Yahuwah for comforting me and even showing me, like, it's like reconfirming my power and my anointing, that hallelujah, I'm sought after. But let me go ahead into this next tone. I want to talk about the difference between feelings and emotions. You might want to take some notes because it's going to take some meditating and rolling over in your mind to grasp this concept and to let it sink in. So feelings, right, they're actually a feeling tone. And so feelings or feeling tone is your awareness and your oneness with Yah. So it's direct expression of your oneness with Yah. So the things that you feel is a byproduct of your oneness with Yah. The things that you feel are the direct, it's an expression. It's a direct expression of your oneness with Yah. So it's this intuition or this intuitive sense that derives from you being connected to the divine, infinite presence that is never in absence. That is how you get such heavenly sensibility. That is how you get such access or have such connection through your direct access, connection, oneness with Yah. That is how we have the ability to feel when accurate, and we'll get into that. But that is just the gist of what feelings are. Emotions are the condensation of previously held thoughts of separation. I'll explain. Emotions are what remain or what's produced by previous held thoughts of separation. So thoughts of separation can look like or are anxiety, anxiousness, right? And so these thoughts of separation create our emotional content, right? So these thoughts of separation, and honestly, thoughts of separation are any kind of spirit, right, or essence that is contrary to Yah's characteristics or fruits. So love and peace and goodness and kindness, like all of these positive and high vibrating, lively, feeling tonality, lively, living spirits, right, are the direct oneness or byproduct of Yah himself. But things like hate and fear and separation and all of these things are thoughts of separation. They are ideas of separation. You understand? So these kind of ideas, especially having them in our realm of awareness and having them frequently, it is what has created your emotional content. So the emotions that you experience are wired. They have been wired, right? Created, programmed within you based off of these ideas and thoughts of separation, which is, i.e., again, we said anxiety, hate, anxiousness, all of those things. So because you frequently have had these kind of ideas or thoughts, it has now taught you, right? It has now created your emotional content. So we confuse thoughts with emotions a lot. I'm sorry, we confuse emotions and feelings a lot, right? So again, feeling is a feeling tonality, right? This is it's an awareness and oneness with Yah. So let's talk about feelings. Feelings are like love and peace and joy, right? You don't have an emotion about peace, you feel peace. You don't have an emotion about joy, you feel it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the differentiation. So put a 7 in the room if you have understood, if what I conveyed to you is falling on perceptional ground and you understand what has been conveyed regarding the difference between feelings and emotions. Hallelujah. So for the esteem of Yah, put a 9 in the room if this is actual revelation for you thus far. If this is revelation for you thus far, put a 9 in the room. Meaning you didn't really have the awareness that feelings and emotions are separate, and you didn't really have the understanding of what differentiates them exactly. Hallelujah. To you will be esteemed. Okay, so a lot of the times we want to understand how to make our thoughts come into alignment or an agreement with what we feel, when in actuality the feeling tonality again is your oneness with Yah. So you think that your feelings and thoughts are different, but what you're actually experiencing or trying to explain is your thoughts from your emotions. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're saying, man, I'm thinking this way, but I feel this way, you probably have an emotion about something. Or if you do have a feeling about something, your thoughts have now been morphed, right, or filled with your emotional content. So I'll explain. You can think like, man, I had a thought that I am pure magnificence. I know that I can overcome certain things, and I am going to do A and Z. I am going to do X, Y, and Z on the journey to integrate and connect everything that I have been taught or come into the revelation to. And then you come out of that thought, and in the times and in the moments to imply the thought that you had, there's like unmotivation and sadness, anxiousness, right? Bitterness. There are things that are within your emotional content that you're cleaved to, or that has become your present. So you're like, man, like, I know that I think a certain way. I keep being in this kind of state. And I want to tell you that in order to realign your emotions with your thoughts, you have to learn to embrace your emotions without judgment. Now, I want to talk about this idea of embrace, because a lot of the times in the esoteric world, I hear this a lot. Embrace, embrace, embrace. Which to me, I feel like it's just this mediocre excuse, right? Like to be your lower self, honestly, to not optimize. It's this lower excuse in place to be coddled in this disassociated vibration or this disassociated sense from your true nature. That's what I feel. Because every time you feel embrace yourself, just embrace it. It's just really giving an excuse to cleave to or justify a state or a sense outside of Yah's will or expectation for us. But I still use this word. Why? Because I have the understanding of the positive and the negative. When I look or think about this idea of embrace, like Hebraically or like elevationally in the spirit, I think about subjection or surrender. So let's use those ideas. And to realign your emotions with your thoughts, you have to learn to surrender or subject your emotions without judgment. Now let's talk about judgment, because I know this is a very cliche word in awakening too. Like people be like, we are called to judge. Judgment is just simply to be able to have discernment, to make decisions, to right, etc. Then you have the other side of judgment, where it's like you always got something to say about somebody. You're always scrutinizing somebody's lives and decisions, and from especially a place of not even being in coherence with Yah yourself. You see what I'm saying? You are analyzing and scrutinizing one without actually giving them a solution in love. But I want to talk about how we will judge our emotional content with no kind of solution or integration. And that's the problem. So you can sit in meditation and you see yourself like, God dang it, I got angry again, or I had this type of thought, or I'm feeling whatever, right? And what you do is sit there and you filter yourself through that sin. I'm not holy. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm always this way. I hate this space that I'm in. There's nothing I can do. Right? And that is not going to realign your thoughts with your emotions when you're constantly judging the emotion instead of learning to subject the emotion. So when emotions start to flow through, like doubt, worry, or anxiety, those emotions that are condensations, a perception of separation, right, that has come a part of your emotional content, you resist or judge or hate, repress or suppress it instead of learning to witness it. So you can be aware that there's fear there, or this doubt here. You can be in a space where you see and are aware of what's coming across your awareness field, and choose to not cleave to that emotion and allow it to be your present or become your present state. So what happens is an emotion will cross our awareness field and we cleave to it. Oh, there's fear. Boom. And it becomes your present state. I'm literally now in a paranoid, in a fearful, like that is my reality now. Or sadness, that's my reality now. I'm down, I'm walking down, I'm thinking now. It's all around me. I'm attracting it now, and low-key subconsciously looking for trauma bonding. Like that becomes your state. Instead of saying, there's worry, and that's what worry feels like. And I let it pass, and I bring it into subjection. Like, okay, there's worry. That's what worry feels like. Ooh, worry feels like nonstop thoughts. Like it looks like you're trying to figure things out and nothing is in your actual control, but you're still going to think your way through it until you actually just come into the place and the end result, which is I had still no control over nothing, and whatever happened did. That's what you're going to come into. You're going to worry yourself through into the end and be like, man, that's crazy. Like, right? So I can already have the perception of that. I can already have the insight of that. So when worry comes, I can be like, that's worry, and that's what worry feels like. And now I bring that into subjection of what surrendering then feels like. Because if you look at them, they're like two senses of the same coin, right? Because in worrying, you have no control, and then surrendering, you have no control. So what do I have to lose? So instead of this emotion of worry, I'll subject you to the surrendering in this moment, in this situation. Put a 10 in the room if you're understanding what the Ruach of Yah is ministering to us, because I'm seeing that Yah is ministering, especially like just through my vessel and through my meditations, like so much liberation, so much freedom. And I'm literally, and you are too, you get to as well. Like I love the fact that even from every video done, like you're able to see, or I'm able to see, just off top, I myself am able to see my prayers in fruition. Because I prayed to Yahuwah for the reconstruction of my mind. I'm praying for healing. I'm praying for new perceptional windows and new windows of perception. I'm praying for those things, and I'm seeing, and I have witnessed myself grow through every stage and come into every revelation that Yah gave me in increments and have been feeding me in increments. Like I've seen that. And I can actually realize when I look over it that each stage has happened and each increment has been given and has been fed to me based off of my perception and based off of and when I have learned and participated in the lesson that he has shown me. So certain stages took longer than others based in my embodiment of what he has shown me. And so I think that's pretty cool, you know, for you all to be able to witness, as well as insightful for your journey and how that process looked. And honestly, if we start taking testimonies, just like the scripture, like everybody's lives in the scripture text, like is this like guide to all of us. Like we get to see like what they went through, what they experienced, their thoughts. Like we got to see the end and like how the end could be even for us, depending on who you are resonating with and learning with in that season. And I feel like it's the same for us in the awakening, in our stories and our testimonies, etc. So I pray and hope that through my stages and process, and especially those who get to experience me on a more intimate, interpersonal level, that you are able to probably actually go through certain stages faster than some in certain stages, that you get to actually take a little bit more time in those stages and in certain of the stages that I experienced that I didn't, and I flew through and I didn't see the lesson and I didn't integrate and I didn't connect that. So that is my hope and my desire. And I really thank y'all for everything that I've been through in life that may be super ostracized or analyzed or judged in the awakening or whatever, because it has allotted me to play a role in this era now, right? Era, E-R-A, not error, but this era, this age, if you will, this time of Yahuwah really giving these healing modalities to his body that we once may not have had or have the awareness of or wasn't ready for. I thank him for being able to be a part of that, because I understand greaterly like why I went through, because it actually allowed me to be qualified for this kind of healing. Because I mean, I was literally probably one of, you know, we'll just say I was able to be a part of such an experiment that, you know, put me in the complete qualifications or ground, same healings that he's given to the awakening, that I was able to even get hands-on. Like I'm able to understand the necessity for them and the extremities of them, honestly, given our literal states and what these experiences and for Yah has actually produced in us, like the byproducts that we have become of trauma and sin, like what it has actually done and the actual methods that it actually does take to bring us into our wholeness. Like we're walking around acting so whole, and like we know how to live this life in this walk, and we're completely rejecting, right, the healing connections in certain stages that Yah is trying to take us through. Like we just want to be the people and be prideful on that, and you know, walk around with that and totally miss the part of unpacking all of our trauma and sin before Yah woke you up, before you had an encounter with Yah. And now you're freaking just on a whimsical of this path and journey of trying to figure it out or act like you got it figured out and trying to save face and don't want to go through the processes of admitting your wrongs or apologize, or, you know, especially in front of people. That's why, yeah, like I said, I just think to be a part of it. I'm just happy to be here because from the beginning, I've always put myself out there and I wore my heart on my sleeve because seriously, Yah made me. So can't no man break me. You understand? Like I heard someone say this and I'm like, she's spot on with that. Like, I'll give it because it's like, it's true. Like, you didn't make me, so you can't break me. You understand what I'm saying? You can't curse me because you did me. Like, you can't take my crown because you are not the one that gave me. Like, you cannot fill me with hate because you are not the one that loved me and placed love within me. Like, period. So I never had hide or worry about, you know, what people would say. I'll say the only time, because I experienced this on this journey that like I'll say more so had to use prudency and wisdom in certain circumstances in going live. And so I actually learned in Awaken. I'm like, oh, we actually don't have government within ourselves. We're not actually embodying that part to be able to come together and deal with situations ourselves. We're trying to get Babylon and the government involved and things, especially out of spite and lies. Like, oh, okay, I've seen exposed videos before of assemblies that was actually pretty bad, certain accusations of abuse and certain things. I thought that was pretty crazy, and I never wanted to like judge a side of whether that assembly did that or not and the people that or not, but actually we actually experienced that, like people lying, people making up things because of offense and that they're hurt. And so you're that mad and offended that you're actually willing for somebody to get hurt or their freedom risk and certain things. Like, that's insane to me, and it's totally like not of the Ruach of Yah. And you kind of prove that you are not fit for Yah's kingdom, because if Yahusha himself, right, went through certain things and barely even spoke a word at times, like who are you to try to, you get what I'm saying, like seek vengeance yourself and try to like proclaim that you're some type of vessel to bring some forth judgment through. It's just like insane. Like the awakening, like we act like we're so tough and we're in the army of Yah so much until it's actually time to be, and now you scared and crying and running to feds and lying and all this other stuff. It's just like, bruh. And then yeah, so I think Yah for all of these things on the journey, I'm telling you, I've seen it and kind of been through it all, and I thank Yah for what it's built in me and what it's done in me and what it's grown in me. And I thank Yah for even the ugly parts of like having to face things and see things and actually acknowledge things within myself and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I know that that's one of the reasons why Yah has continued with me and has blessed me, because in every stage, like I've thrown myself down. And if he has had to throw me down, I stay down and I was compliant with that humbling. You see what I'm saying? And that is what Yah delights in us. He delights in our humbling. Like when Ahab, when a bunch of, if you notice the pattern, anytime anyone, it don't matter if Yah started creating a judgment on them or whatever, if they humbled themselves in the manner in which Yah knew was the evidence of actual humility and remorse, Yah's mercy endureth forever. Hallelujah. But anyways, we have to learn to stop cleaving to our emotions and allowing it to become our present state and start just witnessing, right? Start surrendering, like, this is, it is. That's what that is. You see? And then your emotional content will change and come into alignment with your real spiritual nature. So yes, we can repattern. This is a reoccurring theme. Like, I guess this is just my subject. Like, this is my curriculum for you is repatterning. Like, the emotional content can change. Our feelings can then be polished, refined, right? Your oneness with Yah, your wholeness with Yah, right? When you learn to witness the emotional senses that come across your awareness field, when you learn to just witness them and not judge or cleave to them or try to figure it out, your emotional content will change and will come into alignment with your true spiritual nature, which is undifferentiated wholeness. And I said we was going to go back there. See, we're here. Undifferentiated wholeness. My husband asked me, he's like, what is undifferentiated wholeness? And I'm like, it's the absence of separation from wholeness. You see what I'm saying? It's to not be separate from absoluteness. It's oneness with completion. It's totality. That's our true nature. That's our real spiritual nature. It's totality. It's like who we are, right? It's the becoming because we are, like, and that's what is, and it's already done. Like, that's the nature of what we are, because we are literally the thought form of Yah. We are the intent of Yahuwah. Like, he thought, had an idea, and so we are. You understand what I'm saying? And that's perfect. That's powerful, right? That's perfectly powerful, and that's powerfully perfect. Like, if it's Yah's word deed, it's power all over it. It's might all over it. And that is what we are. That's what you want to identify as, right? So we have to pray for Yahuwah to re-ensemble our mental capacity, right? Our mental and spiritual filtration systems. We have to pray to Yahuwah to reformat our windows of perception and our windows. Because if not, then watch this. We will end up feeling something that's not of Yahuwah, and use a video like this as an excuse to say, okay, it was said we have feeling that is a tone that is the oneness with Yah, and so I feel this, and so it's accurate. When again, the feeling tone is the oneness, your oneness with Yah. So if you're not one with him, then what you feel will be off. It can be off. So, you know, we can't have an emotional content base and a thinking process and a feeling tone that is filtrated through trauma and that's filtrated through sin and dysfunctionally previously held experiences. We have to heal in order to feel what is according to truth. Hallelujah. There's this quote that says, a journey of 1,000 miles takes one step, right? So we start a way of life when we practice, or by practicing. So I know a lot of what I said is sound easier said than done. And in some cases it is, but just know that it takes practice. So if you're not seeing change or consistent change, it's because you may not be being diligent. So if you practice and you stay diligent, then you will discover that change does happen. That yes, we are able to readapt. Yes, we're able to change. And watch this. Yes, you're able to be perfect. You're able to embody your real true spiritual nature, which is what? Undifferentiated wholeness. Is what? Pure magnificent beings. That's what we are. That's who we are. Hallelujah. And you'll begin to see life differently. You'll realize, or realizing emotion pass through, and they are not the natural nature of who you are. Emotions are not the natural nature of who you are. There, they are there to build you, to prune you, to perfect you, right? To expand you, to grow you, to repair, right? So, denounce the walk. Denounce the walking according to emotions. You see what I did? Denounce the walk, the walking according to emotions, and learn to feel. Right? The feeling tone is your awareness and oneness with Yah. It's the tonality of life. That's divine intervention, divine intel that leads you in the way to go. So a lot of your intuition is off. There's blockages. It's compromised because not you got trauma of a neglect and distrust and everything else. So now you think everything you feel, I'm on this person, I'm spot on. Like, no, you don't trust nobody. You don't trust anyone. Like, you would need to heal. So your intuition is freaking crazy. So when we heal, hallelujah, then our intuition can begin to be stronger and actually lead us in truth. Because your intuition is your feeling tone. And what is our feeling tone again? Say it with me. Your oneness with Yah. Because a lot of people think, she's telling us to be led by our intuition. She's telling us to just be led by ourselves. No. I already told you your intuition and your feeling tone is your oneness with Yah. It's literally this access that you have with Yah, who is all wisdom, who is only wise. So if I'm connected to him, then he gives me the wisdom. He gives me the intel. He gives me the insight. It's basically literally, quite frankly, him that's leading me instead of my emotions that are what? Condensated, previously held thoughts of what? Separation. What are thoughts or ideas of separation? It is anxiety itself, worry itself, doubt itself, hate itself, etc., etc., etc. Things that are contrary to your what? Totality. To your what? Your wholeness. To your what? Your oneness with Yah. To your what? Supreme, pure, magnificent, energetic sense, state, essence, existence. That is what you are. And to double flip back to the beginning of this word, you can have spaces by yourself where you are enlightened and you're in the feeling of, right? Anybody ever had that real quick, like whether it's in your prayer closet, in your room, where like you got the children right now, right? You don't have to be a husband right now. You're not a wife right then. You just literally with Yah. You're praying and you're singing and you're reading and you're journaling. And you got like thoughts are so clear. They're crisp. Your visions, your plans. Like you know what your intention is for the day. You know how to get through it. You know exactly how you feel. You're happy. You're spontaneous. You're excited. And you walk out those doors. And then you have adversity, difficulty, and chaos. And things that may come or arise that are actually there for your growth and healing, or watch this, the opportunity that you have for your expansion or to apply everything you had in that room, but then you don't really realize that. And so you're just like falling apart. You're like, then that's when you go back and you pray and give me strength. Why don't I change? Why am I the same? Why can't I respond differently? Dang, I had this come up today and I got rude, but I just was so happy and I said I was going to be my most precious and kind and sweet self. But when this situation happened, I was so nasty. Man, I'm not worthy. Man, I'm not this. Man, I keep trying. Man, I do my breath work. I do this. I do that. And nothing. When it's like, first of all, relax. Relax. Stop judging it. Witness it. Yes, integrate and connect. You, number one, didn't keep on the forefront of your mind that your rehearsing is for what? What are you rehearsing for? What are you rehearsing for? Why is there a need for practice or rehearsing? For the real thing, right? To perform, in order to perform. So you forgot that in that space, in that room, you were practicing, you were rehearsing so that you can go out in its performance. You forgot that it's performance. You thought that it just wasn't, that I was just going to magically have the icing on me and it was just going to touch everything and everything was going to turn into cupcakes. Instead of, all right, because what did the word say? Any man that comes or seeks to serve Yah, prepare your heart for what? Put it in the chat. 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 Oh, put it in the chat. Oh, put it in the chat. put it in the chat. I got a sore throat, but my throat ain't broke. I'm speaking the words of life. All right, maybe I'm a little bit delayed. There we go. Temptation. Hallelujah. So, when you come out that room, let's replace temptation for demonstration. You need to prepare your heart for demonstration. You got to be aware, and a lot of us are afraid of that word, and it's a very triggering word. Like, nobody wants to be told or have to come into the realization that, because I think we're probably triggered because we look at unawareness as like being not only just like dumb, but weak, or vulnerable. You get what I'm saying? Like, we are, or naive, which honestly just points to vulnerability. So you just feel vulnerable, you just feel open. So you're like, man, I'm not aware. But it takes a oneness. It takes you to be connected to every engagement. It takes engagement as a whole. So, hallelujah. I love y'all so much. I love y'all so much. And I just pray for infinite blessings to be with us all. I pray for all of our strengths in this wellness journey. And honestly, I don't want to say above that, but alongside that, I pray for our connection in the time or in the moments for our expansion and growth, that difficulties arise for the production of our strength. Like, I really do pray it's like for our like mind, body, mind, spirit connection, you know, like, because we have a lot of, like I said, thoughts and drive and motivation and excitement, especially in places alone, in our time with Yah and in our grounding to Yah within ourselves as his body temple. And then we go out and we're just so disturbed and like knocked off our square, and everything seems like for naught. And so I really just pray for our spiritual maturity, you know, I guess our discipline, like I said, just really that connection, like to really stay tapped in at all times and every sense of engagement, if you will, to be able to discern and identify the moments and opportunities that are yielding or calling for, rather, our expansion and our opportunity for growth, if you will. Like, I really just pray for that. And I pray for our integration. That's what I pray for. I pray for our integration and connection of everything that we're learning to our actual lives and reality in our day-to-day engagements. That's it. Like, that's my hope. That's my prayer, because I myself, you know, am what happens. Like, we have this enlightenment, we have these spaces, and then it's just like we don't embody it. So I really do pray for our embodiment, and I pray for our integration in Yahusha's name. I love y'all. Please feel free to email us. Forgive me if we haven't emailed back to some people. I'm actually going to try to like really prioritize that between today before Shabbat, or for sure after Shabbat, prioritize that emailing back. But please email me. For some of you that may be a little bit more sensitive or shy, I pray Yahuwah gives you courage and confidence. But if you have certain questions and you just like, I don't want you to know it or whatever, make another email. And or don't put your name, I don't know, something, and feel free to ask questions. On my page, I do have my own YouTube, everything woman, WOMB, man. For any women that want to follow that page, I'm very raw, I'm very real, I'm very raw. I grew up in the city of Detroit, Michigan. I'm very, very raw. So on there you may see some raw things, hear some raw things, and it just is what it is. I have peace, I have wholeness and wellness in Yah. And that page is basically dedicated to everything woman. I put womb instead of woman. I know people are be afraid about even stuff like that and waking like, whoa man, this sounds like witchcraft, divinity, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, divinity just means Yali or Gali or powerfully existence, and I believe Yah is the power, so whatever. And then the same thing with woman. Woman, it's like, I have a womb, do you not? Especially in today's time where everyone want to act like they don't know what a woman is. So a woman is a person with a womb. But I also named it that for the purpose of understanding that even though we are women and we have as the realm in which we materialize and actualize carbon copies of ourselves, or not carbon copies, excuse me, copies of ourselves, if you will. Oh, I don't know why I just had a glimpse of freaking out at the carbon copy. I was thinking about something else that was attached to that. Hallelujah. So not to say we have multiple wombs, and that's what makes us divinely powerful as women, because we have the mind that we birth thoughts from. We have multiple wombs. So that page is dedicated to everything woman. So I definitely am on a hair growth journey and growing out my crown, my covering again. You know, I had locks for 5 years and I grew them like waist length in 5 years. And if you would have saw where they started, like I didn't start like, you know, some people already have long hair and they start with twists and they already right here. Like my hair was like roly polies, and I just knew that because of the head, when I did start, like I thought they were going to be long, but the methods that coil, like, and I have like 4 type hair, so my hair is very coily and tight. Like my shrinkers be real, you would think I'm literally bald, and I blow it out and it'd be like, whoa. I thought that my locks were going to be already to my shoulder because that's where my actual hair was before I got the locks, but them boys was like roly polies on my head. So that's where they started, and I grew them waist length in 5 years. So imagine if they were like really taken out, they probably would have been thigh length from given where they started. I cut all them off, and it's been literally a year, like a little over a year, like literally 14 months or something like that since I cut my hair, like scalp dang near. And if you go on that page and see where I've grown it, it's just the esteem of Yah. And the reason why I'm passionate about growing my hair out is because I've learned and come to embrace that our hair is our head wraps and our crowns. And so I want to grow it out as the evidence of Yah's esteem and covering upon me. His covering including my forgiveness, his infinite love and mercy that he's always given me, and also our allegiance and alliance to have, that he grants me protection from my enemies. And so I'm growing out as that. Also just a little light flex, you know what I'm saying? Like as the evidence that I am Yah's daughter. Like what? Hallelujah. And I don't know, just to help other women with 4 type hair to grow out their hair, because for some reason, you know, our hair is deemed as ugly or the most unmanageable hair. But with the right actual regime and products and time, then you can grow your hair out. And I know that locks have become a staple for the Hebrew community, or just the woke community as a whole. People think that, oh, if you have locks, you're woke, and anything outside of locks, you're not woke, you're asleep. And I'm here to tell you, no, like ain't nothing like an unruly afro. Like an afro that talk back, like hair that talk back. Like that's the only thing rebellious I want in my life is my hair. Like that's it. And a lot of people lock their hair because we don't embrace our hair. Like actually become the most manageable way, easy way, excusable way to deal with our hair. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna deal with my hair. Just like we're gonna confront these traumas, we're gonna confront our hair, address our hair. And it's also, to me, another practice of patience and love. It's another area in my life where I can embody love and patience, because a lot of times we're super rough on our hair. Like, why are you fighting your hair? Why are you going to World War III in your hair? Why is every detangling day that is World War III you have enough hair to make a sweater now for you and your family for the winter to be warm? And why now? Why do you have that much hair on your comb? It's because you are not patient. You need to pray to the Lord, fast and patient, loving spirit. You need to pray for the fruits of the spirit now. Come on now. So, yeah, that's what that page is. Skincare, you know, diet, wellness, just woman talk. How to be a woman. Like, what does that look like? Or how to be a wife. What does that look like? Like, yeah. So, said all that to say, go over there, subscribe, follow that channel. I have a podcast coming for that channel. I'm getting my panel together. And yeah, everything is just well and pathetic, and we just plan our parts and our roles in this era of the awakening, according to Yahuwah's beauty and his mercy and his grace. So I love all of y'all, and I look forward to sharing space with y'all again soon. Until then, may Yahuwah keep you and bless you, my beloved family. Shalom, shalom.